What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video. Now, we did our first live stream in a while a few days ago. On Sunday, we did a live stream just talking some Lions football, hanging out and having a fantastic time talking with you guys. And in that stream, there were a lot of very good questions brought up. There were a lot of very good emphasized points that were made that got me thinking about the Lions a little bit more, right? During that stream, we talked a little bit about the rookie coaches and who was going to be the most successful and who was going to be the least successful. And we also talked about who's had the best offseason so far of the rookie head coaches. And I think there's a good argument to be made that the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell are the top of that list. But I think even more arguably, and I think even more impressively, there's an argument to be made that the Detroit Lions are the most improved team in the entirety of the NFL this season. I believe there is an argument to be made that the Lions, the Detroit Lions, a team that went 5-11 a season ago, are a team that is the most improved franchise from week 17 to right now. Now, in today's video, that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about all the advancements that have been made in this Lions franchise. We're going to be talking about all of the different moves that have been made to elevate this Lions franchise to where they are right now and elevate them from how far they were a season ago, and really talk about just kind of comparing it to some other things, comparing it to last year to this year, of course, and really trying to make the case, trying to make the argument on how much or how vastly improved this Lions team is and whether or not they are actually the most improved team in the NFL. Now, before we get into this video, if you are new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes 2 seconds to do so. It's quick, it is free, and it is very, very easy to do, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. So if you could do that, take those 2 seconds and like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into taking a look at how improved this Lions team is and asking the question and making the argument on whether or not they are the most improved roster and the most improved franchise in the NFL.
So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
Now, before we get into this video and before we start talking about this topic, I do want to preface that just because I believe the Detroit Lions are the most improved team in the NFL, and I believe that Dan Campbell has had the best and most successful offseason of all the rookie head coaches, that does not mean I believe the Detroit Lions will be the best team in the NFL. That does not mean that I believe the Detroit Lions or Dan Campbell will be the most successful this year of all the rookie head coaches. In fact, I don't believe that. I believe that Brandon Staley, I believe that the Chargers' newest head coach is probably going to have the most success, and I believe Robert Saleh is going to be right behind him right there. I think those are going to be the 2 most successful rookie head coaches, at least in year 1, and I do not believe the Detroit Lions are a Super Bowl contender. I do not believe they are the best team in the NFL, and I truly don't think that they are even ready necessarily right now to be serious playoff contenders, but I do believe the Lions have had the best offseason of anybody else in the NFL, and I do think it's close. I do think there are a couple teams up there, but I think there is a case to be made that the Lions are number 1. Now, to be fair, there was a significant downgrade in this organization throughout the offseason. There were a couple of smaller ones, but the really only big significant downgrade this season was, of course, the Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff transition. Now, Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. It just so happens that Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback. Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, and in the opinions of many other people at this point seemingly, is a top 10 quarterback. I believe that. I believe Matthew Stafford is a top 10, arguably top 8 quarterback in the NFL on his best days, whereas I believe Jared Goff is a top 15 to 20 quarterback, probably closer to 12 on his best days. So it's not like it is a massive downgrade. It is not like we're going from Matthew Stafford to an undrafted free agent rookie quarterback or something that's never played in the NFL. We're getting an NFL veteran. We're getting a player that has proven to be successful in the NFL. It's just a downgrade in talent from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff. Although I do think Jared Goff is talented enough to get us victories. I do think Jared Goff is more than talented enough to win football games. He's proven that in the NFL, and Jared Goff is a very good player still. Jared Goff is a fantastic NFL quarterback. It just so happens that Matthew Stafford, in my personal opinion, is a little bit better than him. With that being the case, the rest of the roster did not really have a single downgrade at all, and in a majority of cases, they actually upgraded. It was either an upgrade or a lateral move to the next player, but there was no significant downgrade. There was no downgrade at all, really, from anything on this offense. You look at running back, you start at the running back position. You have Jamal Williams in place for Adrian Peterson. Yeah, Adrian Peterson might have a little bit more top-end speed, but Adrian Peterson was primarily used as a short yardage back a season ago, especially kind of later into the season, was more short yardage, goal line back, a guy that you could push forward for a couple of yards if you needed to. He started off more as the RB1, but more transitioned back to that RB2 goal line back, short yardage back role as DeAndre Swift kind of developed and came out and kind of emerged into his own right. So from that standpoint, I don't think Williams to Peterson is a downgrade at all. I don't know if I'd say it's an upgrade, but it's definitely at the very worst a lateral move from one to the other. And then Jamar Jefferson to Kerryon Johnson is also a lateral move. Yes, Jamar Jefferson is a 6th round, 7th round rookie running back, but their skill sets are actually very similar, whereas I think Jamar Jefferson actually a little bit more at his top gear. I think Jamar Jefferson runs a little bit faster and is a little bit faster on the tail end of runs and can kind of complete those big runs more so than Kerryon Johnson ever could. And Jamar Jefferson is going to be healthier. He's proven to be a healthier back even comparing their college days. And of course, the old saying, the best ability is availability, is going to come into play here as well. Kerryon, very talented player, but a player that was just never really able to stay healthy or was never really able to truly contribute at his best because he was struggling so much. Now, looking out to the O-line, we're pretty much returning the entire same O-line as 2020, all the same starters, except for the fact that we are adding the 7th overall pick, Penei Sewell, as well as Drake Jackson to be a backup center. So we're adding talent and depth and youth to that offensive line that was already a top 10 or at least borderline top 10 offensive line a season ago. Wide receivers, you're going to get some people saying that wide receiver is a big, massive downgrade for the Detroit Lions. I've made a whole video talking about why that is not the case, and you can, of course, go check that out if you would like to do so, but I'm going to run through it very quickly. Tyrell Williams is a very good replacement for Marvin Jones. Quintez Cephas is an upgrade over Danny Amendola at wide receiver 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown right now I think is an upgrade over Quintez Cephas from a season ago for your wide receiver 3. And Brashad Perryman I think has more big play home run ability than Marvin Hall ever did, just based off of speed and explosiveness alone. Now, looking at the tight end position, we have the same starter as 2020 with the same starter, Pro Bowl TJ Hawkinson, one of the better tight ends in the NFL, top 5, top 4, arguably top 3 tight end in the NFL if you want to make that argument. So he is the same. He is the exact same starter, just better, bigger, faster, stronger, and more ready and hungry to win. You also have the swap from Jesse James to Darren Fells. Darren Fells is a little older. I believe they're actually very similar in age, but Darren Fells is a little bigger, a little stronger, and I think has better efficiency in the red zone, or at least has better numbers as far as efficiency in the red zone. So from there, I would say that's an upgrade at tight end too. And then we also added some talented UDFA tight ends. I believe we had a guy out of Ohio State, and we had a couple other players. I know we had one from Notre Dame. Plus, Hunter Bryant is still there. So we just really got a upgraded tight end 2 in that position, and then got a lot more depth and talent for the tight end 3, and a lot more competition that will sharpen the skills of everybody competing for that tight end 3 spot. And whatever player eventually does come out and does eventually become that tight end 3 is going to be the best player for it. It's going to be a better player because of the competition brought in. So on offense, there was no downgrade at all. If anything, it was complete upgrades across the board or lateral moves. And then when you get to the defense, it's very, very similar. It's a very similar situation. You go to the defensive line or the interior defensive line, you drafted and brought in Levi Onwuzurike as a 2nd round draft pick. Aleem McNeil was brought in, Michael Brockers was brought in, along with returning Deshaun Hand, John Pennicini, and Nick Williams, all, of course, returning to their roles from a season ago. Deshaun Hand played well a season ago. John Pennicini played well a season ago. Nick Williams did not play a ton, did not play phenomenally. I believe was struggling with some injuries here and there, but he is returning as well as a defensive defensive linemen. The only real defensive lineman that you lost was Danny Shelton, but as I said, Levi very easily replaces him. Michael Brockers very easily replaces him, and Ali McNeil does the exact same thing. So you're losing one talented defensive lineman for three very talented defensive linemen. That right there is an upgrade in its own right. Edge rusher is actually exactly the same. It's the exact same as 2020. Romeo Okwara returns as an edge rusher coming off a double-digit sack season, top 10 in the NFL in sack production. He comes back, Julian Okwara comes back healthy. Austin Bryant hopefully comes back healthy. And then Trey Flowers actually does come back healthy and hopefully plays more than just a couple of games this season for the Lions. You look at linebacker, it's a very similar core to a season ago with just a few minor tweaks and adjustments. Of course, Jamie Collins returns, Jelani Tavai returns, Jalen Reeves-Maybin returns, and really the only big changes are going to be Christian Jones and Jarrad Davis. Those two were lost, but Alex Anzalone is a very big upgrade at the linebacking core over Christian Jones. And then Derek Barnes and Jarrad Davis are actually very similar players in both play style, size, physicality, and just production. At college, they're very similar players, so I believe Derek Barnes will be able to replace Jarrad Davis fairly easily. I believe that is a very lateral move, maybe a slight downgrade just because Jarrad Davis has the experience, but they're very similar players, and by the end of year one, you may not even be able to tell the difference. And then, of course, Alex Anzalone, with his athletic upside, is a far, far better player and has far higher upside than anything Christian Jones could ever provide. Now, moving on to cornerbacks, again, kind of a similar situation. Jeff Okudah, Amani Oruwariye, and Mike Ford all return, all really big-time players, all players that I expect to be in starting roles this season. And then you replace Quinton Dunbar in place of Desmond Trufant, who did not play well a season ago. That is an upgrade right there. And then you bring in Corn Elder to be a, arguably backup or possibly potential starting slot cornerback to upgrade over Justin Coleman, who really, played well his first year in Detroit and never really kind of got back to that. Definitely struggled with some injuries and definitely struggled in the Matt Patricia scheme. But Corn Elder played better than Justin Coleman did a season ago. Justin Coleman kind of showed his age a little bit, kind of showed his regression a little bit, and Corn Elder showed a little bit of progression, in fact. And I believe that Corn Elder last year did play better than what Justin Coleman was showing on the field. At safety, it's a very similar unit as well. The Lions didn't make a lot of change from their top end starters, as you can tell. Tracy Walker is returning. Will Harris is also returning. Those are two guys that are both former third-round picks. Tracy Walker has definitely shown more in the NFL, but Will Harris has been said to have been making plays and making significant strides this year in training camp. Then the only real change in the safety room was replacing Dean Marlowe with Duron Harmon, and Dean Marlowe is more athletic. He's faster than Duron Harmon. He tackles better than Duron Harmon and actually outproduced Duron Harmon in a significantly less amount of snaps. So there, I think that's an upgrade right there. Duron Harmon, to me, was a fine player. He was a good leader, but he didn't tackle very well. He wasn't really a ball-hawking safety. He kind of got lucky with both of his interceptions. To me, Dean Marlowe is just a better player. Yes, Dean Marlowe's interceptions were both, you could say, lucky as well, but I believe Dean Marlowe tackles better. He's younger, faster, and I think just is a little bit better than Duron Harmon and is a little better than what Duron Harmon has to offer. And then you look at long snapper and punter. They're both the same. Jack Fox and Don Yulbach are returning. And then kicker, I think, is kind of similar. Matt Prater definitely struggled last year. I'd say that's probably a slight downgrade from Matt Prater to Randy Bullock, but not a significant downgrade by any means. And then kick and punt returner, yeah, the Lions lost one of the better kick and punt returners in the NFL in Jamal Agnew, but Khalif Raymond is more than capable of taking over that role, and I think Khalif Raymond or maybe even Victor Bolden, either one, could step into that role and see immediate success very similarly to what Jamal Agnew had in his time in Detroit. So with that being the case, our roster as far as talent is improved, right? They are improved, they are better, they are younger, they are better athletes than they were a season ago. And then you look at the coaching staff, you look at the coaching changes, and that's where you really start to see the improvement by this team. Dan Campbell is an upgrade over Matt Patricia. Anthony Lynn is an upgrade over Darrell Bevel. Aaron Glenn is an upgrade over Corey Unlin. Mark Brunell, Deuce Staley, Mark DeLone, Aubrey Pleasant, and Todd Walsh are all upgrades over the former assistant coaches or former positional coaches that resided in their spots. Not to mention, in the front office, Ray Agnew and John Dorsey were both added to this front office. John Dorsey being the man who rebuilt not only the Kansas City Chiefs, but also the 0-16 Cleveland Browns. And not to mention that, but now with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell in the building, of course, Brad Holmes, another guy in the front office that is an upgrade over Bob Quinn, of course. The whole idea, the whole ideology in this building is different. They have a vision, they have a plan, they have an identity that they are building towards, and the Lions I don't know if you could name another team that has had this much upgrading. I don't know if you could name a team that has improved more in the offseason than the Lions. I don't know if you can name a team that has upgraded 8, 9, 10 coaches in their coaching staff, as well as a majority of their front office in a single offseason. I don't know if you can name a team that has upgraded more in a talent perspective than the Detroit Lions, building up the defensive line so significantly, building up that offensive line so significantly, doing a really good job providing and replacing the talent in the wide receiver room, even if it wasn't the flashiest names, and not giving into the media about just you have to get a wide receiver, you have to draft him, you have to pay big money. Not giving into that pressure of the media and really going about it in a very smart way to replace the production from a season ago. I don't know if you're going to find another team that has improved as vastly as the Detroit Lions. From everything from the talent to the front office to the coaching staff, from ownership down to the last water boy on the team, this whole team is better. This whole team across the board is better. And like I said, I don't know if there's another team in the NFL that is going to have I don't know if there's any other team in the NFL that can make the argument that they've had a better, more productive offseason when it comes to improving their team. Now, with all that being said, that is life for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. Do you think the Lions are the most improved team in the NFL? Do you believe that the Detroit Lions are moving in the right direction at all? Or do you think that this rebuild is going to end up just like the rest? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd be very interested in what you guys have to say. With all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time, and as always, go Lions.